All right, we do have someone tonight that's very special that's coming to the stage here. This is his second time doing stand-up comedy, so I want everybody in this room to show him a lot of love when he comes to the stage. Please put your hands together and give a great big Connxtions Lansing welcome to Mr. Jack Shaberg from Williamston, Michigan.
Thank you very much. Before I get started, it's so bright on here, I can't see anyone, so if I ignore you, that's why. Do we have any hecklers in the crowd tonight? Anyone thinking maybe tonight's the night I'm going to stand up and make a fool of myself? Because I beat you to it already. All right. Before anyone stands up, and these next 5 minutes is going to be a golden opportunity. I just want to tell you a little bit about my history of being made fun of. Now you're probably thinking, well, he just wants us to feel sorry for him. Well, yeah, why else would I tell you that? All right, starts out on the day I was born. The doctor pulls me out, gives me the once over, looks up at my mom. Does your husband know you had an affair with Godzilla? And she's like, he's a little infant, he's a newborn, how bad could he be? So he turns me around and he shows her exactly how bad I could be. And she looks at me for a second, she goes, are you sure that's not the placenta? And he's like, no, of course it could be, I guess. So he checks around and sure enough it's not. So by this time he's feeling a little ill, which means he's missing his tea time. So he gives me to the nurse and he says, take him out in the waiting room, let his dad see him. Because of course in those days, in the olden days, the fathers were always out there. And so I was the fifth of what would be 6 kids. So my dad is pretty much over this. So the other expectant fathers are walking up and down, and he's just trying to stay awake by doing a crossword puzzle. And he doesn't want to do a real taxing one, so all of the answers are just 3 letters. He's currently on one that says, bright yellow orb in the sky. And he's been thinking and thinking. And he hears the nurse come out and say, it's a sun, it's a sun. He says, thank you, S-U-N. What do you want? She goes, well, it's your son. You want to see him? He goes, yeah, sure. Just let me finish this crossword. So about 30 minutes later, he takes a look and he goes, Jesus Christ! And she takes me back and goes, no, he had darker hair. But she could see he was upset, so she says, look, she looks around to make sure no one's watching. I was just down at the nursery. There's a lot of cute babies down there right now. You give me $50. I'll swap a couple of bracelets. You go home with a cute one. We'll leave placenta boy here for someone else. And he looks at her. He goes, you got to be kidding me. She said, I'm sorry, sir. $25? He goes, do you take Visa? Fortunately, they didn't. So I go home with them. So now we flash forward. I'm in 3rd grade. I'm 13 years old. No, wait. Yeah, 13 years old. Only kid in the elementary school with a mustache and an ex-wife. So, teacher, we've got a substitute teacher from South Carolina. She's going through the attendance, first name, last initial, like I guess they still do. Daniel Q, Susan R, Jackass. I'm too embarrassed to raise my hand. I just hope she'll go on. I'm looking for a jackass. Is there a jackass in here? There's my little jackass. I love the name Jack, but I don't know why there's so many meanings to the word. For instance, I don't know if there's anyone else here named Jack, but how many times do you hear, hey Jack, you want to help me change my flat tire? Hey, you don't know Jack, but you must because that's your name. But we all know the worst one. So I go to work for the company that I'm working for now, and we use Microsoft Outlook, which probably most people do, to do our email and our scheduling. So they say, look, if you're going to leave early, if you got to come in late, you're going to go do somewhere, just put it in the schedule so everyone will know. So the first time, after I've been there a couple of weeks, I've got to leave early one day. I don't want to put my whole life story in there, so I just put 4 o'clock, Jack, off. And I didn't even think about it, I swear. So at 3:59, this guy comes by my office, he goes, you are going to close the door, aren't you? And then it hit me, I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm hoping everyone will forget about it, and about 3 or 4 days later, the secretary finds out that I'm going out to get something to eat. So she says, jack off for lunch. Tasty, yes. And I say, I'll bring you the doggy bag. And then a couple weeks later, which I think it's all blown over by then, and one of my ex-buddies finds out that I'm going to go away for the Saturday and Sunday. So he says, jack off all weekend. Going to be tired on Monday, aren't you? So let's move forward again to my wedding day. Beautiful church, 200 people in the crowd. Minister gets to the part where he says, if there's anyone here who has an objection, 15 hands go up. He says it's a new world record. He's never seen 15 hands. They all start talking at once, so he says, look, I'll give you 5 minutes each. Say what you need to say, then we'll go on. 2 people have got written statements. It's a little unusual. And there's one lady who's handing out copies. And I'm like, thanks, Ma! So an hour and 15 minutes go by. The minister doesn't know what to do. So he says, all right, we'll take a vote. My fiance immediately abstains, which was a little troubling at that point. So it comes down 99 to 99, and the minister hadn't voted yet. Of course, I hadn't paid him yet either. So he votes yes, pronounces his husband and wife. I slip him a couple of Sacagawea coins, and we go on our honeymoon. And even though my wife is only 5'1", all the short jokes are directed at me. Plenty of time to laugh at that one. So now we come ahead to almost present day. It's about last June. I was doing my first bit of comedy here. About halfway through the routine, some clown stands up in the audience. And he's literally dressed as a clown, which is kind of weird. And so my heckler antenna goes up. And I look at him, I say, dude, what is with the outfit? And he's got sort of a sad clown face. And he says, oh, my dad was a famous clown, and he wants me to be one. I said, man, you got some big shoes to fill. And that got a few laughs, just like it did tonight, and so I assume, he's going to sit down, but he goes, which way's the bathroom? And I don't know if he's heckling me or if he's what, so I said, I got your bathroom right here. So that got a couple laughs, and he comes up on stage, and he uses me as a urinal. So if anyone's going to stand up, just stand up and say, you suck, man! Because then I'll be like, why didn't they put me up here first? I've got to go, fortunately for you, but I just want to say one thing about invisible fences. I don't know if anyone has one here. It's some sort of dog electrocution scheme, I guess. I think your dog runs away. And so we've got a dog, and whenever he runs away, I just shoot him. And I do this for 2 reasons. First of all, he's never run away again. Second of all, he doesn't even bark anymore. Now that I think about it, he hasn't moved ever since. So I better check on him when I get home. But so a lot of our neighbors have these things, and of course they put up those signs, and it's sort of pretentious, I think. So I go to Lowe's a couple weekends ago, and I just buy the biggest, gaudiest fence I could find. Put it up in the front yard, which is like a total no-no. All the neighbors are driving by, and they're all pissed off. I put a sign, invisible dog. Thanks a lot. See you next time.